put your name up top in the right because you're going to be turning this in. Either one is front end and the other is not front end. Whichever one you want to. You can write the date. Out the top right. Okay, raise your hand if you remember learning point of view. How many? That's okay. So today we're going to be doing point of view, and point of view is in a work of literature and is determined by the narrator. Who can tell me what the narrator is? Russell.
He tells the story.
Yes, they tell the story. The narrator is the person telling the story. And the narrator can be the author or a character in the story. They can be both. So, we're going to watch this short video. It's a brain pop video.
Communicating effectively with Grammarly.
After the ad.
Grammarly helps.
Just watch right now.
Tim carried rocks across the yard, sweating in the hot sun. From a nearby fence, a cat meowed.
Hey, get down here and help me.
Despite Tim's whining, Moby remained in his tree, continuing his important work.
Dear Tim and Moby, what is point of view? I mean, when it comes to writing. From Josh. Well, point of view is the position from which a narrator sees and understands what is happening. There are 5 main points of view that you come across in writing. First person point of view is when the narrator, usually the main character, is telling the story from his or her own perspective. What you got there? Wow, I remember this. I was sitting in class minding my own business when Dana reached out and pulled my hair for no reason. Yeah, that's first person, all right. You can really feel how upset I was. The first person narrator is a character in the story. The word I is a definite indication that you're dealing with a first person narrator. The narrator, who actually is me in this case, is directly involved in what's going on. That involvement means that a first person narrator is not totally reliable. Everything that you know about the story is through his or her eyes, so if the narrator doesn't know something, then the reader can't know either. She did pull my hair though, I swear. Second person point of view is not as common, at least in writing. The second person narrator tells a story using the word you, which places the reader immediately and personally into the story. Your alarm clock shatters the early Monday silence. You hit the snooze button and pull the covers up over your head, hoping for just a few more minutes of sleep. Suddenly it hits you. Your science project is due today. No, that's just part of the story. Let's move on to the third person point of view. It's a lot less confusing. There are 3 types of third person point of view. The first one is the simplest, third person objective. In the third person objective point of view, the narrator isn't part of the story. You can tell the reader what happens to the characters, but you can't go inside their heads and reveal what they're thinking or feeling. The orange robot sat in the tree, watching the boy struggle with the heavy stones. In the third person limited point of view, the narrator focuses his or her attention through one character, so the reader not only sees what's going on with the characters, but also knows what one particular character is thinking. The orange robot sat in the tree, watching the boy struggle with the heavy stones. The robot wondered if the boy saw him. With third person limited narration, the narrator only knows as much as the character that he focuses his attention through. It's very similar to first person, actually. The voice is a little more detached, but the experience is similar. The third person omniscient narrator is really detached. Omniscient means all-knowing. So, unlike the third person limited narrator, the omniscient narrator has access to the thoughts and feelings of every character in the story. No, sitting above me in the tree and writing does not make you a third person omniscient narrator. You're actually there, physically watching me, and you can't tell what I'm thinking. It's almost like the third person omniscient narrator is watching the scene from another world, like how we watch ants. Of course, we don't know what ants are thinking, but an omniscient narrator would be able to say exactly what we're thinking and feeling at all times.
Tim and his robot friend Moby stood on their lawn, explaining the concept of point of view. While Tim was eager to get his point across, Moby couldn't help thinking about running away and digging holes in the yard.
The omniscient narrator is trustworthy and reliable. They see everything and tell it like it is. Well, choosing a point of view to tell your story is important. First person is appropriate when you want the reader to really identify with the narrator. Second person draws the reader in, but in a different way. It's like talking directly to someone. Third person limited lets your readers watch your main character carefully and draw their own conclusions about him or her. And third person omniscient can give your reader an objective overview of your story. Whatever you choose, you want to stick to one point of view. Generally speaking, switching points of view can be confusing. Now, how about you help me move these rocks? The omniscient narrator told you not to help me?
Okay, so looking at your sheets, do you guys see how there's 4 different points of view?
Yeah.
Does everyone see that?
Yes.
So when we're going through, we're gonna take a little bit of notes, just a little, so just listen for them. But first person point of view is if the narrator is a character in the story, they will use the first person point of view. One way to realize it, and I know you guys heard it in the story, was to look for the which pronoun?
Person.
Nope. Look at the pronoun.
Narrator.
I. You're looking for I. So right now, write on point of view. Make sure you write. First person. We're on first person point of view. The pronoun I. That's what we're looking for when we're looking at sentences.
Just write I.
You can put it just like this. Little asterisks. Just so you know you're looking for the word I. This is like a person telling you about what happened to them personally or what happened to them. So the pronoun we use for first person is I. So some examples. I went out to dinner with my friends and then we went to Brewster's after.
Ooh.
So, Brindley, can you tell me how we know it's first person, the sentence? Because it has an I yet. And then, I went to the beach for September break. Kaylee, why do we know it? The I. Who's it talking about? Who's themselves. Yeah, they're talking about themselves. So I went to the beach. So that's first person.
You did?
Well, not right now, but I've been to the beach. But I have 2 older sisters, and I live with 4 of my friends.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that shows, the I shows we're in first person, right? Right? Okay, looking at second person. If the narrator is referring to someone else, they are using second person point of view. So, second person point of view uses the pronoun you to address the reader. So, when we're using second person point of view, we are using the word you because we're referring to someone else.
The pronoun you.
Yep. So everyone write pronoun you. So you remember which one we're using. Yes, Brindley. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay. An example is you walked across the street to your friend's house. So, Jameson, how do we know this is second person?
Because of the word you.
You. So did I walk across the street? You walked. So you walked across the street, right?
I've never done that.
You cannot eat until everyone has their food.
Oh, that's I hate that. I do too.
second person because what, Kason?
You.
You. You got on the bus today to go to school.
No.
You didn't, but
I.
you did.
I did.
So that's how we see if it's second person. If it's talking about someone else. Yeah. So third person, I know you guys heard it in the video, but there's multiple different third person point of views. So third person is if the narrator is telling the story. So the narrator is not a part of it, but they're telling it. A way that shows that the narrator is writing in third person point of view is if they use the pronouns he, she, they, or them. So, when, for both of these, see how there's both limited and omniscient? You can write the pronouns in both of them. So you can write it under both of them because it works for both of them. We haven't gotten to there yet. But the pronouns for them are he, she, they, and them.
Wait, did you have to put both of them or just him?
All of them. All four of those.
And both of them? Like
Yeah,
two
you
in
can
one
put
and
it-
two in the other?
If you know they're for both of them, you don't have to write it twice. But if it'll help you write it both,
No, but like write he and then she and then they or then
all four of them go for third person. I know for first and second there's only one word, but for third person there's 4 different pronouns that we can find in the text. So there's yeah, or if you know that these are on both, you can just leave it right there. 'Cause you wrote them all. So the 2 main different types are limited and omniscient. So third person limited is when a narrator relates the events of the story from the perspective of only one word. Emily, do you know what perspective is? We've learned it in class. Do you want Brentley to help you out? Yeah, Brentley, what's perspective? Yes, your perspective is your own thoughts. So, when we're doing third person limited, it's the perspective of only one character. So, if you are reading and your thoughts are of one character, then it's limited. So, Macy got home from school and had to decide if she wanted to do what she wanted to do. So, how do we know that this is limited? The same 3. Mason. Because it has their name. But how, that's right, but how many people are we talking about in this sentence? 1. See, we're talking about Macy. Macy got home. There's no one else in our thoughts, right? It's just Macy, right? So, Zach wanted to go shopping, but he was home alone. Yes. How do we know? He. Yes, that's how we see that it's third person, but how do we know it's limited and not omniscient? There's only one person we're talking about, right? So, if it's only one person, that means it's limited. So, for the last one, Tanner was very upset that he couldn't play in the football game. Kelsey, how do we know that it's limited?
It's only speaking about one person.
Yes, and that's Tanner. No one else, right? So, in third person limited, you can write one character. So you guys can remember that limited is one character. So everyone write one character. C-H-A. Oh, Bryson's selling it. That was close. characters CHARAACT. Is that right? I'm gonna write it too. I said it 2 times. Here, we're gonna write it. So everyone, that seems wrong. How do you spell character?
It's because you're having a moment. We all have moments. All of
Yeah.
us. So
It's one
that's
of those
why.
words I can't say
But
it in
you
my
know
head.
what? Walker noticed something, so we're just gonna let him
You got
share
it.
what he noticed. What did you notice? What did you notice on the wall? Oh, it says it over there too, a whole different one, because we've been talking about it a whole lot, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's the step I've gotten to, and it's looked weird every time. So character is CHARACTER. Okay, third person omniscient. Think back into the brain pop. Omniscient is when a narrator relates the events from the perspective of several characters. So, when we were doing limited, how many characters were in it? Nope. One. Limited, there's only one. But when we're doing third person omniscient, there's multiple. So, under omniscient, write multiple characters, or MUL characters. So we went from third person limited, having one character.
Wait, what's third person? Third person limited.
That's the one character, remember?
Wait, who's the person? Care. Karen.
How do you spell what?
How do you spell
Multiple. MUL.
Character.
That's what I said today.
You say
I haven't finished saying it yet. She hadn't finished saying yes. Kelsey.
I actually wrote that in my own
Oh, perfect. Okay, so if you're reading and your thoughts contain multiple characters, it is omniscient. Okay? So, let's look at these examples. Emily was trying to make food, but Hope was still using the kitchen. How do we know that this is third person omniscient? Let's see. Claire. Yep. So there's Emily and Hope in this sentence, right? So there's more than one, so we're out of the limited. Okay, so Cade really wanted to watch Up, but Rachel wanted to watch Moana. They got into a fight, but they chose to watch Up and then watch Moana. So, Eli, he's in the bathroom, so. Walker, how do we know that this is third person omniscient?
Because
It does say they, Okay, so that shows us there's third person, but how do we know that it's not limited and it's omniscient? Cade wanted to watch Up, but Rachel wanted to watch Moana. There's two people. Yep. So that's how we know. With limited, so if the sentence only said, Cade really wanted to watch Up, period, that would be talking about one person. But now we're talking about two people. So that's how we know it's omniscient. So, for the last one, Addie was planning on going for a swim at the pool, and Caitlin joined her. Lillian, how do we know? Yep, there's two people. See, Addie and Caitlin, right? Right? Okay. So those are the 4 points of views we're going to be working with, okay? So, let's see. See who. Hold on. Braston. What? Nothing yet. So, Braston, when we're thinking of first person, look at your notes. Thinking of first person, how could you use that in a sentence? Think of a sentence really quick.
I was playing basketball.
Yep, did you all hear that? I was playing basketball, so that is first person. Kelsey, looking at your notes, what would we say for second person? What's a sentence you can come up with really quick?
You wanted to go bake a cake.
That was good. Did everyone hear it?
Yes. No. Yes.
You wanted to bake a cake. That's second person because she used which word?
Yeah.
Perfect. Kaylee, thinking of third person limited, can you think of a sentence? Do you want Lillian to help you out? Yeah, did everyone hear that?
Yes, I was trying to read a book.
Emily was trying to read a book. If she said I was trying to read a book, what point of view would that be?
First person.
First person. But she said Emily. Okay. Eli. Thinking of third person, omniscient, and you have some examples, but don't use the examples. How would you write a sentence?
We all talked about the house.
Oh, you're still in the bathroom? That's okay. Kaden. Oh, she's in the bathroom. Brindley, you have a sentence?
Alexa and Cadence were going to
Yep, that was perfect. Did you all hear that?
Yes.
Yes. You guys all went to the pool. Okay, so now everyone come down to the carpet. You don't need your notes, but you can bring them if you want to. And we're gonna do our read aloud. Okay. Okay, do you guys remember when we learned in Miss Graham's class about the different rivers?
Yes. Colorado River, Hudson River, St. Lawrence River, Mississippi River, Colorado
You
River.
guys know all of them. So today, we're going to be reading the Hudson River, America's first highway. What do you guys notice? Look at the cover. Preston.
It's a river that splits between New York and
You notice that from the picture?
It has a fact. that's probably it.
Oh, gotcha. Brindley, what do you notice?
There's a lot of tall buildings.
Yes, there are a lot of tall buildings. Okay, so we're about to learn a little more of the Hudson. But remember, we just, hey, Jameson, wait for Casey to get back. Oh, Casey's back. You can wait till Walker's coming back. Okay, so remember, we just talked about point of view. Think about the point of views, the different types of point of views while I'm reading, okay? Long before humans ever saw it, the Hudson River did what it does today. It trickled from small lake in the mountains. It grew deeper and wider as streams fed into it. It gained speed and power as it traveled downhill. It flowed for more than 300 miles before it emptied into the ocean where New York City now stands. Halfway on this great journey, the fresh waters from the mountains met salty waters from the ocean. The ocean's water flowed up the river when the tide came in and down when the tide went out. The river and its valley were filled with life. Saltwater fish, such as salmon and shad, swam up to estuary, up the estuary to lay their eggs. Crabs and oysters found food in the river's rich, salty marshes. Seabirds like gulls and sandpipers shared the river with such woodland birds as warblers and blackbirds. In the river valley, thick forests sheltered mink, beavers, foxes, otters, and muskrats and deers. There's a lot of things in this river, isn't there? So right,
Oh, like with the light.
right in the woods. See, this is the Hudson River, and here's all the land. So there's deer and all those animals right in there, right? Casey, come sit. Okay. What's the name of this book?
The Hudson. The Hudson River, America's
First Highway.
Big one.
So after the war, New York was a state in a new and growing country. People built factories along the Hudson River where ships could deliver raw materials and take away the finished products. There were sawmills, paper mills, ironworks, brick-making factories. Sorry, everyone. People began to trade and travel on the river again. So it was becoming the highway again after the war.
It says Higway. I know.
Oh, I had a typo. Do you ever have typos?
Yes.
Yeah, I know you guys do. Shipbuilders designed a boat especially for this river, and it was called the Hudson Sloop. You guys see it? This is the Hudson
I
Sloop.
remember learning about that.
You remember learning about that? It had one mast with tall sails that could handle river and ocean winds. Its flat bottom helped it sail over sandbars. It had long, heavy tiller for steering through the river's tricky tides and currents, and it was big enough to hold a lot of cargo. Sloops carried grain and lumber down to New York City and brought dishes, cloth, and shoes made in England to towns up the river. England. Other sloops carried the many passengers who began to travel on the Hudson. Tourists came from all over to admire the river's beauty.
And then there was an airplane.
Soon, though, sloops and other sailing ships had to share the river. On August 17th, 1807, tooting horns and cheers greeted inventor Robert Fulton as he traveled up the Hudson on his steamboat, the Clermont. Do you guys see it? Here's the steamboat. One witness called Fulton's, one witness called Fulton's steamboat a monster moving on the waters, defying wind. One witness called Fulton's steamboat a monster moving on the waters, defying wind and tide, breathing flames and smoke and lightning its path by the fires which it vomited, is what one witness said.
Isn't vomit
Did it-
go up?
Yep. Did the boat actually breathe fire and vomit?
No.
No. It was just so big and everyone was so amazed. For many people though, the steamboat's speed made up for its noise and smoke. Sloops and steamboats turned the Hudson into a much busier highway, but they couldn't travel west to new parts of the growing country. Since there was no water route from the Hudson to the west, people decided to build one. It took workers 8 years to dig the Erie Canal, but in 1825, the 363-mile waterway opened. Now people could travel across the Atlantic Ocean, up the Hudson, and then through the canal to the Great Lakes in the Middle West. Settlers poured into Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. The canal wasn't big enough for sloops or steamboats. When the travelers on the Hudson got to the canal, they boarded packet boats, which are right here. They're little boats, packet boats instead. Horses and mules walking along the canal banks towed the packet boats with ropes. They also towed barges loaded with grain, lumber, coal, and other products. Shipping companies got bigger and made more money. Settlers in the Middle West could ship their grain and other farm products all the way to New York City, which barges loaded with supplies and factory-made items went west. For a while, until towns grew along the Mississippi River, the Hudson River and the Erie Canal together formed the most important waterway in the country. After the Erie Canal opened, steamboat traffic on the Hudson got heavier. But soon, a different kind of steam energy changed the river valley. In 1851, the passengers traveled for the first time by train from New York City to Albany. The rail trip took 4 hours, 5 hours less than the steamboat trip to Albany. Just as some people had complained about steamboats, some complained about the train's noise and smoke, but others cheered. Not only were trains faster than steamboats, but trains also carried bigger loads. Many travelers and shippers switched from the steamboats to trains. The railroad age had arrived along the Hudson. Do you guys see how pretty that is? See the railroad?
Yeah.
It's right next to the Hudson River, so you can see the river while you're on the train. The mighty Hudson is still a busy river. Many of the boats that use the Hudson today are pleasure boats, but ships and barges still carry wood pulp, steel, grain, scrap metal, and other cargo. Barges and ocean-going ships can go up the river as far as Albany. During warm months, pleasure boats can go on to the Great Lakes through the New York State Canal System, which started with the Erie Canal. So they added to it, and now it's the New York State Canal System. There are so many factories in the Hudson Valley, and its towns and cities have grown. Dozens of power plants use the river's water to make electricity for the factories and for the homes and offices of the millions of people who live and work near the river. Factories, power plants, and growing cities have made the Hudson River Valley a bustling place, but they haven't always been good for the health of the river. By the middle 1900s, the waters that had been clean for millions of years had become polluted with chemicals and other waste. Fish and birds were dying, and the water wasn't safe for people to use either. The mighty river needed help. People who loved the river organized groups such as Scenic Hudson to protect it. They blocked power companies from building plants that would damage the river. They also helped get laws passed so that factories and towns could no longer dump waste into the Hudson. Today, there is still work to be done, but the waters of the Hudson River are much cleaner. See how pretty it is? Now that the Hudson River is cleaner and healthier again, people want to experience its beauty. Sightseeing boats take tourists up and down the river near New York City. They may pass fishing boats pulling in nets full of shad, just as Native Americans once did. They may see eagles soaring on warm air currents, as Washington Irving once did. The river attracts swimmers as well as people in kayaks, canoes, and sailboats. In spite of all the activity in the Hudson Valley, there are still wild areas along the river. Imagine paddling a canoe down the Hudson, past forests and cliffs. Then you might see the river just as it looked to the Native Americans who first saw it long ago. So if we look here, we start with the traditional canoes, we move to the bigger ships, and then we've got even bigger ships. And then we have the steamboat. The steamboat was the one that vomited, remember?
Oh.
Yeah. And then we have the tugboats, and that's what people were able to go on, and they were pulled by horses. And now, there's still canoes that go up and down. So we all remember the Hudson River? Yeah. Okay. So, just ignore for a little. Okay. So, when we were listening to the story, what point of view was the story written in? Think about it. Okay, raise your hand. Don't say anything. Raise your hand if you think it was in first person. Nobody thinks it was in first person? What about second person? What about third person? But third person limited or omniscient? So raise your hand if you think it was third person limited. Okay, raise your hand if you think it was third person omniscient. Okay, so it was third person omniscient. And you want to know how we see that? Let's look at one of the pages we were reading. Okay, when I'm looking at this page, what's one word I see on here that shows me it's third person? Don't say it, just look. Brinley, what word? They. And that shows us that it's third person, but that doesn't show us if it's limited or omniscient, right? So, when we're reading the story, if you had your eyes shut and I said Hudson River, New York City, Native Americans, how many things am I talking about? 3. That's more than one, right?
Yeah.
So throughout the whole story, we didn't just have one main thing. We talked about steamboats, we talked about the sloops, we talked all about things that happened on the Hudson. So it's more than one. So that's how we know it is omniscient. Okay. Has any of you heard of the U.S. Airways Flight 1549?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's where the Hudson River crashed. Oh, yeah.
So, the U.S. Airways was a flight that was headed from New York City to Charlotte and Seattle. It was going to stop at both on January 15th, 2009. While in flight, the plane hit a flock of birds. Who can tell me what a flock is? Lillian? A bunch of birds. So it's a group of birds, causing the plane to lose all engine power.
But that makes no sense.
Why?
Because the plane is have 5,000 pounds and some birds are like 5.
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a
But a bunch of them, if it hits it, think if you're in a car, and even if you hit a little car and you're in a truck, it would still hurt the car, right?
No.
Not
The plane is
always.
way bigger than
But-
a car and a big car.
It can
Well,
go
yes,
like
but-
right into the engine.
A flock of birds, you have to picture a bunch of birds,
A bird,
and it just went straight to the engine.
a bird can jump. Birds.
It hit the engine,
When it
so
hits the-
it killed the engine.
And it's going as fast as the plane is going.
Yeah, they're going pretty fast.
That's
So
what
it'll just
faster
jump
than
the
the
birds.
car.
No, it wouldn't. It would make some.
The birds would get stuck. The birds would get
Guys.
stuck.
Birds
into it
got
and it would stop.
Everyone. So when it hit it, it didn't get stuck. It just messed up the engine. So the engine couldn't work the way it was supposed to. Does that make a little more sense? It just messed it up. Just the way if I hit my mirror, even if my car was bigger, if I hit my outside mirror on a tiny car, it would still mess up the mirror. Doesn't matter the size, you have to think of how fast it was going. The plane was going fast and so was the flock of birds, and it just hit the engine. Yes, Mason. Really? So the pilots, Chelsea Sullenberger and Jeffrey Skills, knew that they had to make an emergency landing because once again they didn't have an engine. But due to the low altitude, they were not going to make it to an airport. So they knew they had to land, but they didn't know where they were going to land. They decided to land in the Hudson River, which was their only option.
Where they would die.
Or yeah, the plane would crash. So they knew they had to land and the only place they had was the river. Oh. So they glided into a water landing on the Hudson River, right by Midtown Manhattan. They started a water evacuation and all 155 people that were on board were rescued by boats nearby. There were only a few serious injuries. So if they wouldn't have landed in the Hudson, they would have landed in buildings or in fields.
Like the Twin Towers landed in the
Yeah, that plane hit the buildings, but this one landed in the water, so not everyone was hurt. They were all able to evacuate from the plane, and everyone made it out. So this is a picture. Do you see all the people on the wings? They all had to walk on the wings, and over here you can see the ship is starting to, or the plane is starting to sink. And see, everyone's getting on little lifeboats. Yes, Kelsey.
And that was called a miracle on the Hudson River.
Yeah, it was
It was
a miracle
like-
on the Hudson River.
like 10 degrees or something. So
Yeah,
the water
it was freezing. Okay, so now, oh,
Video unavailable.
that's so sad.
It was reloading.
You may just need to like go open another tab. Like the county blocks right
Yeah,
now.
you so many times.
For obvious reasons.
What? Oh yeah, the youth airways were the people that flew to land in water.
The US Airways did.
Maybe the internet.
Maybe the ADMI could.
Hold on, so Liam thinks the people that landed in the Hudson are the same exact company that landed in the Golden Era.
No, this was just a normal flight. They were just going. But when they hit the birds, they had to land. So they just came down. That was 8 years after the 9/11 plane crash. Yes.
What year
What year?
did they?
It was in
2009.
2009.
Oh yeah.
I will try to find the video for you guys to watch once we go back to the assignment. But sorry everyone.
I'm glad I wasn't in
Yeah.
I wasn't even born.
Nobody was. Nobody was.
Except the old people in the room.
No, they weren't born in
I mean,
2009. They were alive.
Not everybody's old in here.
Nobody's old in here.
Okay. So we're gonna think about the plane landing. What do you think the people in the plane were thinking or feeling? Camden.
Nervous.
Nervous? Lillian. Scared? Kelsey.
They felt like terrified and everything.
Really terrified? Emily.
Worried.
Worried? Walker?
Cold.
Cold. Braston?
Curious.
Curious. Renly?
Frustrated.
Frustrated? Jameson?
Clueless.
Clueless. Okay, those were a lot. We have a lot more. How would you feel if you were on the plane? Annabelle?
Very scared.
Very scared, yeah. Kaylee,
Nervous and scared.
nervous and scared. Alexa, nauseous. Preston,
I would faint and I would be very scared.
you would faint. Did you have one, Cadence?
Scared.
Scared. Kason,
I feel fine.
you'd feel fine. You wouldn't be scared.
You throw up on a normal
No.
basis.
Yes.
Scared and cold.
Scared and cold. That's how you'd be feeling. What would you be thinking? What would be going through your head? Eli,
I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Claire,
This plane just killed me.
this picture. Annabelle,
Death.
death. Everyone's thinking death. Jameson,
Tears.
tears. Kelsey,
Worried to death and I'll pass out and
Pass
faint and
out.
never wake up until I get to the hospital. If I got like a serious injury or anything.
yeah. Preston,
A miracle. Think about a miracle.
you'd be thinking about a miracle. Kason,
I'd be thinking about me sitting on the beach.
you'd be thinking of what?
Sitting on the beach.
Sitting on the beach. Cammy,
I would be thinking nothing because I would be asleep.
you'd be asleep. One more.
I'm thinking about my family.
You'd be thinking about your family? Yeah, me too. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to our seats and you're gonna take out a piece of paper and we're gonna use our notes, but we're gonna write a point of view writing over what if you were on the US Airways flight 1549. So I know a lot of you just had a lot of ideas. So keep thinking about it. What? I'm not gonna read them out loud now.
That's when that company was.
Okay, so everyone go back to your seats. Keep your notes with you.
I was thinking about my family.
Go back to your seats. Come on. Eli and Braxton. Yes. You're gonna be turning it in. So if you can pull it out of there, then you come right in.
It doesn't matter.
You can just pull a piece of paper out of it from the writing section.
I'm just writing.
Do we write anywhere? You can write on any piece of paper. Hey, listen. Listen. So you all have to write at least 3 sentences.
About
Don't touch it yet. About what you would think or feel if you were on this plane.
So this is
So-
what if I was on this plane.
Which point of view do you guys think we will be writing in?
You're first person.
First person. So we are going to be writing in first person. And we're writing, here are some ideas. What would you be thinking? How would you be feeling? What is going on inside the plane? Is everyone calm? Or is everyone screaming? Because Jason said he'd be okay. So there could be people that are calm. You have to think about that.
I'd be chilling.
How would you feel after landing in the river? Yes, Jameson.
Okay, we move it in the book.
Just do it at your desk for right now. Okay, so then, once you're done with your writing, everyone has their sticky notes still? I hope so. Once you're done with your writing, you're gonna think about our levels. So level 1 is I don't understand this yet. And when I'm saying the levels, we're thinking of point of view. So do you understand? If you don't understand point of view yet, you're gonna come and put your notes, your sticky note, and your paper in this box, okay? Yes.
Do they have a cycle in
No, you can just throw it away.
This turns over cycles.
Number 2 is I need more practice. So if you think you need more practice with point of view, come and put your stuff in here. And remember, you're writing on your sticky note which number you think you are. Number 3 is I understand and can do it by myself. So if you know what point of view is and you can say all of them and you can remember them, number 3. And number 4 is I can do this and explain it to someone else. So if you think you could teach someone else point of view, you're gonna put a 4 and you're gonna put it in this basket. Okay? Yes, Kaylee. Yes, so you're gonna put this paper one you're writing on. Make sure you put your name on your writing paper. I know you all did on this point of view paper, but make sure you put your number on your sticky note, okay?
I will be thinking.
Remember, you have to have 3 sentences. Did you already write your thing? You have to write first.
So I have to say like, I was on this plane, I would be saying that.
Yep, it's however you want to write it.
How many seconds from what? 2, right? So I feel like, okay, there's your first one, and there's your second. You know, that could be your line. I know you're gonna want it to be all perfect, but, okay, so that means you gotta have, there's at least 1 vowel each syllable.
1549. You can get it right.
Ooh, my job is, what do you, this one, this one's, or, okay, there is a U and there's something with it. There's 2. Yes. No.
I'll write it on the board.
It's not that it doesn't matter, but you're applying. It's actually
Yeah, I was having an A because W remember since it was one of the like new song
If you need the flight, it's right here. I wrote it so you guys can all see it.
I was on the plane, I said
No, that's the first syllable. So put your U there. Okay. Now, so that's the first one. So now, no. But it does sound, it you got, I'm not spelling it. Like he's tapping, we're working. And then what? Yeah, good job. Now you can fix it. Yes, too. So that means like, if you go like this. Okay, so it's like a syllable, first syllable, second syllable. So.
Okay, and once you're done, no, you get to choose. You write whatever number you think, whichever bin you're gonna go put in, that's the number you put on the second. Once you're done, you're gonna put both of those in there, so you can put them in. Make sure you're putting your names on your writing, so I have to know who wrote it. Make sure we're also turning in the point of view sheets with the writing.
How many syllables?
And sometimes, like worry, it's the base word. Worry. Do you know spell worry?
Remember that.
Okay, and it's okay if you don't. Worry, it still has 2 syllables. So, you got it, okay. So what's the first letter?
Okay, when you're done, if you haven't finished your brain pop video, go get a laptop and we're gonna start moving into our brain pop videos again, okay?
Together?
The movie. No, not together.
Oh, we're doing it independently.
You're doing it independently. This is when you're done.
But are we doing
You can tell black goes to an I. There you go. What did she say you're supposed to do next?
I didn't get a peel off.
You didn't get a clear one?
I didn't get a peel off.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking
Yep, write your
You
name
have
on
to
your
do
paper.
a number on your sticky note. Does it matter what number? No. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
No, if one is the worst, like you feel so bad about it, you can't do it by yourself. And four is like the best, you can teach it to
Yes,
them.
put your point of view sheet with your writing.
Okay, I need help.
You feel good, but you're like, don't make me do second.
I need help.
Taking these out, you'll be able to see who.
No, they're
Pray.
not wood.
That's okay.
Pray.
That's okay.
Pray, man.
Point of view is a hard skill.
It's easy.
I don't know.
But what's easy for some might not be easy for others. Does pray have a ending on it, or is it just pray?
What is the word? Like pray?
Yeah.
Okay, or like pray, like you already pray if you're in church. Pray. Okay, well, pray. Alright, what is this word?
Oh, I know this.
Wait, look. What is it? What is that word?
You've done it.
What is this word?
Give you this. Just so
Here is Mora.
Oh, it has to have an end on it.
And what is this word?
Say.
Okay, so pray, same thing. So how do you spell pray? P-R-A-Y.
Yeah,
No E. Just P-R-A-Y.
What, we have to find a number on that thing?
What was just in your mouth?
Your writing.
What is it?
Your
Put
writing.
that out. I would take it except for where it
I'm
in
gonna
fact
what?
belongs to me. He doesn't know. But let me see it right now.
So,
I know exactly what it is, and that is mine.
if you think
Okay, so
you know point of view and you can explain it to someone else, you're gonna put it in 4.
put that on my
So,
desk.
that's the number, you put it on there. Whichever number you think fits you, that's what you put on there, okay?
She's passing it out. She's got it. She's very capable.
Yes. Everyone's doing their movie,
just like this.
I haven't started.
but with your notes and this paper. You have to write.
Yeah, I'm putting 4.
Yeah.
What did you put? No. What did you put?
So we can attach this. So you have this one, and this one, and this one. So, I'm gonna staple it, and then you're working on your,
Grandpa.
okay, that's
All I need to do is put speech bubbles.
Just put what?
Speech bubbles and then delete all the. Do you think I can do speech bubbles but paste? Like, I don't want to go back, delete everything.
You don't have to, no, you don't have to do that. That's
You're
what
putting
she's
it
doing.
with your writing.
Just get
You're
into
turning
it
it
and I'll show you
into
what you
with
do.
your writing.
It's not bad, I promise. She did. Hey, Alexa, are you waiting on your step? Lillian's like, I have just stick it on it. Like just like this. There you go, it's all done. And you just put it right on it. Right on it. It doesn't have to be in any certain spot. Other than the arm. That was the direction. So you know how a lot of times I make y'all show me a number with your fingers and
Annabelle, that was
stick it on
awesome.
CD and whatever.
Claire,
That's what
it
she's
looks
doing.
awesome.
So you're gonna put how you're feeling about point of view on that sticky note. You give yourself a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Four's like, what you already working on. 4 is like, I'm so excited that I know so much about this, I'm gonna go teach the world. 3, you can still, you might teach others, today you might be like, what do you want my son? Or you're like, I want my son. Now, so just, let's get it rated that way.
No.
That's kind of stuff. Preston, where are you going? Where are you supposed to be right now? I bet your skid is over on your desk, right where she got it. So you're gonna, is your name on here? Okay, that has to happen. It should just be. So did you delete? You didn't delete your, this is it, okay, yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay, that's it, focus. Laptop and get on it, we don't have time, we just wondering.
You're writing on it?
And then they summarize it.
That does not belong in your mouth. So put it there. Yes. Okay, here, now, so you got that. So she got all your stuff together. Names on it. And then you're gonna take that and stick it on the word. So the 1, 2, 3, 4 on it. And then you put it in the basket that matches your numbers. Perfection.
And you're logging. Review instead of 174. Try it now. Sure it works.
You're turning it in.
Big board.
So you've done it twice, so which one is your most recent?
And then there's a friend homework.
Now she's gonna have to go. Alright, so that was October 11th, which was yesterday, at 1:52 in the afternoon. Now to go back. And then click on this one. Now which one is your most recent work? Which one is the latest that you do? Do you see what I'm saying? So that's where you go. So it's like one big, so which one? If you're not sure, so that's one.
Press and
do, and you gotta be done. Like Friday, you're only gonna have a little bit of time. If you don't, like wherever you are, it will be finished. Like you'll turn in wherever, however much you have finished. That one, perfect. So the U doesn't follow Ron's rules. Similar words, and you'll just remember. And some are easier to remember than others. Good job. Perfect.